Well, the latest is, we signed and contracted to do a rematch, and that's what it is right now.
Do you know when it's going to be, when we can hear?
I don't got no date right now, but I know that's the next fight that Terence Crawford.
How long do you think it will be before we have some news about that?
I don't know. It's still up in the air, given the first male boxer, undisputed, in any division in a 4-belt era, and I honor, that, and if he was to come to me or activate his...
it could happen. Why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, so, I'm with it. So, I'll be going for Bud, if he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him.
The sport is in chaos once again. Just when it looked like Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. had moved on talks for a second fight are suddenly active. This time it is not just noise. Real discussions are happening behind closed doors. Both fighters have spoken about it, and the pressure is building fast, with Crawford already questioning Spence and where he stands in the boxing world. Here is what you need to know.
I wanted to see that immediately after that fight, but now time has kind of ran its course. I don't want to see Errol. I just don't want to see Errol get done like that again. That's all. And I believe Errol Spence is a generational talent, great fighter.
Crawford and Spence have never been the type to stay quiet. Now that the talks are starting to feel real, they are speaking up even more, taking shots at each other in interviews on social media, and even during a heated live moment. Spence, who has not fought since his tough loss to Crawford in 2023, is more determined than ever. He wants this rematch badly, and says the first fight did not show the truth. He insists he was drained at 147 pounds, and that the weight cut left him with nothing. Crawford, on the other hand, is reminding everyone what happened when they last fought, how he dropped Spence 3 times, and how the fight was not close at all. But Spence is not accepting that story. He believes that at 154 pounds, everything will be different.
You gonna knock my first?
Because I don't want us personally, we talking about what we want to see. I don't want to see it. Because I know what it's going to look like. The same as it looked last time.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Errol Spence wasn't the same.
What was wrong with him?
He looked slow. He looked he looked sluggish.
Why?
I can't tell you. I wasn't in camp.
At the division he dominated for his entire career. All of a sudden, when it came time for this fight, he looked different. Why?
I wasn't in camp with him. I can't tell you. I don't know if his body finally broke down from being at 147 for too long.
This whole rematch drama has been up and down from the moment Spence activated the rematch clause after their first fight. When Crawford dominated him in July 2023, Spence quickly triggered the clause, wanting another chance, but the contract was clear. If neither fighter submitted written notice saying they could not make 147 pounds, then the rematch had to happen at welterweight again. Spence never turned in that notice, yet he and his team kept arguing that the fight should be at 154. Crawford refused. After winning the way he did, he saw no reason to give Spence any edge. That is where the deadlock started.
The fight can't be made, but weight can't be used as an excuse and sort of say, I don't feel like it. Like, I'll go up to for this guy, but not another guy. So, that's sort of the spirit. The language is very, more precise and very definitive. But the concept is, out of fairness, is, let's not be selective.
Then Spence's health problems put everything on hold. Eye surgery, recovery, and questions about whether he could get back to top form all slowed things down. While Spence focused on that, Crawford kept moving forward, capturing another title at 154 by defeating Israel Madrimov and shutting down any talk of a rematch. When reporters asked him about it, he barely gave it any attention. Nah, he said, brushing it off completely. At that point, it seemed like their rivalry was finished for good.
Question, I don't want your reaction. Is the Errol Spence rematch on the table still, or?
Nah.
All right, we're gonna wrap that.
I'm trying to tell you.
But now the situation is changing quickly. Crawford isn't closing the door entirely anymore. Spence is turning up the pressure, challenging him whenever he can. Many fans believe Spence deserves another chance, arguing the weight cut drained him and that he wasn't at his best that night. Others disagree, calling it an excuse and saying he was exposed, insisting a rematch would likely play out the same no matter the weight.
I truly believe that the fight would have went that way regardless, because stylistically, the fundamentals on that level, Crawford is just outclasses Errol Spence in every single category.
Spence is taking this personally. He's openly accusing Crawford of avoiding him, trying to ignore the contract, and acting like their first fight didn't happen just because he lost. Crawford, who never lets anyone control the story, is hitting back hard. He tells Spence he had his opportunity, got dominated, and didn't even seem like he belonged in the ring with him.
44 or 47, but I'm sure he probably gonna push the weight up, but there's no gonna be no change in the decision. The performance still is gonna be the same. Might be even a little bit better. So he might want to watch out before he activate the rematch clause.
Now, both fighters are making it clear they are ready to go at it again. Spence remains confident, insisting that Crawford never faced him at full strength, that he wasn't himself in their first fight, and that he will prove everyone wrong. Crawford, on the other hand, seems to find the idea almost laughable. He thinks Spence is overrated, his style is too predictable, and if they meet again in the ring, he would finish him even faster. The trash talk keeps heating up, and with both men finally confirming that talks are happening, this rematch is looking more real than ever.
Let's go! As you can see, man, breaking news, Errol Spence then activated that rematch clause to fight Terence again, right? Let's be honest, we all saw the fight. Crawford beat boogers out that boy.
This trash talk is already shaking things up in the sport. Terence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson have always been close, their bond built on years of respect, guidance, and shared goals. But now their opinions on Errol Spence Jr.'s legacy are putting them at odds. Crawford, who never holds back, has sparked controversy by openly questioning Spence's Hall of Fame worthiness. Stevenson, one of boxing's brightest young stars, strongly disagrees. Their clash is fueling heated debates among fans, analysts, and even other fighters about what it really takes to earn a Hall of Fame career.
That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope he do well. But like, once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same weight as Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody. You this, you that, you this, you that. So now they trying to blemish my accomplishment just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna do that. Because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't got right now.
Crawford sparked this debate during an appearance on the Pound for Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo. When Spence's legacy came up, he didn't hold back. Crawford argued that Spence doesn't measure up because he only competed in one division. While he recognized Spence's achievements, unifying 3 welterweight titles and beating top opponents like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and Yadenis Ugas, he remained firm that it wasn't enough. In Crawford's view, a true Hall of Famer dominates multiple weight classes, builds an undeniable record, and proves their greatness beyond just one division.
Discredit one of the best wins on your resume. It starts to make people look at your resume with a question mark. Terence Bud Crawford.
That statement grabbed the attention of the entire boxing community. Crawford didn't just critique Spence's career, he basically closed the door on any debate about his place in boxing history. Naturally, this sparked reactions from fans and experts, many calling him out for downplaying Spence's accomplishments. Some saw it as unnecessary disrespect, while others thought Crawford was just being honest. The most notable pushback, however, didn't come from analysts or former fighters. It came from Shakur Stevenson, one of Crawford's closest friends. In an interview with Best Women's Boxing Show, Stevenson quickly disagreed. "I feel like Errol had a great career," he said firmly. "If it wasn't for Bud, he would have been undisputed. He went and got every belt one by one. I think he's a Hall of Famer." Stevenson's words challenged Crawford's narrative, highlighting Spence's dominance before their fight and showing what might have been if Crawford hadn't stood in his way.
Terence went on Pound for Pound podcast and he said that Errol Spence will not be a Hall of Famer. Can you just give me your thoughts on that?
I disagree.
You disagree? Why do you disagree?
I feel as though Errol had a great career. If it wasn't for Bud, he would have been undisputed. So he went and got every belt one by one. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Stevenson's view shines a light on a bigger debate in boxing's Hall of Fame talks. Does greatness come from winning in multiple divisions, or can a fighter secure their legacy by dominating just one? Stevenson clearly feels that Spence's reign at 147 was enough. Crawford, however, isn't backing down. To him, even being a unified champion in one division, no matter how successful, doesn't guarantee a place in boxing history.
I don't think Earl's run was long enough, no Diddy, to automatically put him in the Hall of Fame. He was a very good fighter. If there was a Hall of Very Good, he would be going into that. But Hall of Fame, no. If you were in charge of writing the Hall of Fame speech for Errol Spence, and I was in charge of writing a Hall of Fame speech for Bud Crawford, my Hall of Fame speech listing my credentials, listing my accolades for Bud Crawford would sound a lot better than your speech for Errol Spence, bro. Yeah, I don't think unifying and holding 3 titles automatically push you in the Hall of Fame.
The tension between Crawford and Stevenson may not be a complete falling out, but it's definitely making waves. Their friendship has always been based on respect, yet this is one of the few times they've openly disagreed on a big issue. Stevenson isn't just another fighter sharing an opinion. He's someone who has trained with Crawford, learned from him, and looked up to him for years. For him to challenge Crawford so directly sends a strong message and raises questions about how this might affect their relationship moving forward.
It's up to him. He gave me that opportunity to fight him. It's only right that if that's what he want to do, I'll give it back to him. Outside of him, I was definitely looking for that Jermell Charlo fight, but they just stripped him for the WBO. So now it's going to be kind of hard, becoming a 3-weight world champion if he don't come back and, fight Tim Tszyu and be successful after his fight with Canelo.
It's his choice. He gave me the chance to fight him, so if that's what he wants, I'll give it back to him. Outside of that, I was definitely interested in a fight with Jermall Charlo, but he just got stripped of the WBO title. That makes it harder to become a 3-weight world champion if he doesn't return and take on Timu, especially after his fight with Canelo.
Say Crawford is a hell of a fighter, but I don't really respect his resume. What? Other than fighting you. Crawford? You know what I'm saying? I don't really respect his resume like that.
Adding more heat to the debate, Hall of Fame talks are always political, and Spence's case is already dividing boxing insiders. Some argue that his comeback from a life-threatening car crash and his continued title defenses make his record even more Hall of Fame worthy. Others feel Crawford is setting a risky precedent by dismissing champions who succeed in just one division, since many legends built their entire legacies that way.
Waves of YouTube. Let me make a plea right now to Terence Crawford. I understand you just beat him. You beat him thoroughly. You're the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. The WBO, the WBA, the WBC, the IBF titles. But you hugged him after the fight for a reason. I am making a plea to Terence Crawford. Even if you elect to give Errol Spence Jr. a rematch, please do not do this for at least a year. Please don't do that.
There's another angle to this debate, Crawford's history with Spence. Some believe his comments go beyond Hall of Fame criteria and are personal. They think Crawford is trying to downplay Spence's legacy because of their rivalry, making sure history remembers him as the better fighter. If Spence makes it into the Hall of Fame, it would mean acknowledging him as an all-time great, even though Crawford beat him, and Crawford might not be ready to accept that.
It ain't like Errol can't take him. I think he's the bigger, stronger fighter. But Errol methodically marches down and breaks you down. I don't know if that can be done to Crawford. I think that Crawford is a marvelous boxer. I think he's got the temperament of a champion that really wants to do damage and be spectacular. He can fight conventional. He can go southpaw. He brought the power with him. And I think the biggest thing is that Errol Spence might have gave him a little bit too much time.
Meanwhile, Spence hasn't responded to Crawford's comments publicly, but it's clear he's not pleased. He's always been proud of his achievements, and being dismissed so easily by Crawford is only fueling his competitive drive. There's even talk that Spence could use this as extra motivation for a potential rematch, aiming to show he's not just a great fighter, but an all-time great, worthy of the Hall of Fame no matter what Crawford says.
I'll support y'all fighter. Let's come together, make this event a success, instead of everybody saying every time we get together, it's always shooting and violence. Everybody know Team Crawford. Y'all know I get active.
The debate shows no signs of slowing down. Fans, fighters, and analysts are all taking sides. Is Crawford stating the truth, or is his rivalry with Spence affecting his judgment? Is Stevenson right to defend Spence, or is he just being diplomatic? The boxing world is watching closely. One thing is clear, this isn't just about a Hall of Fame spot. It's about legacy, pride, and the ongoing fight for respect in one of the toughest sports out there. Everyone has their fighter to support.
Let me tell you what I think should be gone. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small.
Sure, if he beats Canelo, people will call him one of the greatest ever. That's the gamble. But if he loses, and let's be honest, the odds aren't in his favor, it just reinforces the point. Crawford took this fight for the money, not for his career. That's why, when talking about Hall of Fame legacies, Crawford's name deserves more scrutiny than Spence's. Spence earned his way to the top, belt by belt, without cutting corners. Crawford is taking a different approach. For him, it's not about belts, divisions, or legacy. It's about cashing out while he still can.
Disrespectful for Crawford to call you out at 68, say that he can beat you at this weight?
No, everybody wants to fight with me, so it's fine.
And maybe that's fair. Crawford has worked hard, stayed undefeated, and now wants to make the most of it. But let's be honest, this is about money, nothing else. And taking that route doesn't automatically earn a Hall of Fame spot. If anyone's legacy should be questioned, it's Crawford's, not Spence's. What do you think about the whole saga? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.